we built barn doors, and I want to show you somewhat how to do it. We're going to do a different style because I had to get these done pretty quickly. So I'm just going to record myself making them, and I'm going to do a voiceover over the work footage. Just for your reference, this is Cypress, stained with early American. There's no screws or hardware. There will be hardware for the hangers and stuff like that, but it hadn't come in yet. So pay attention to the build. Enjoy the video. And I think that's it. Just kidding! I do want to say before we get going that I use the domino joiner for the joinery, but you can do this with the dowel. I've done it before. So if you don't have a Festool domino joiner, shameless plug, I'm giving away a Festool domino joiner to one of my subscribers. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to draw a name of one of the subscribers, and I want to do a video on how you can make extra money as a woodworker. I don't see a lot of woodworkers doing to buy the tools that you need. It's not that hard to do it. But everything you see me using a domino joiner for, you can use a dowel joiner, a dowel jig for. I've done it. It's possible. But when you're doing this as kind of a business, it's a side business, but it's still a business. You want to speed up every process you can, and that's when a domino joiner really shines. And another little tidbit of info. If you are going to build barn doors, before we get started, you want the height to be 1 inch above the door opening. So for this instance, I have 83-inch high door opening. The door is 84 inches. You want the width of but if it's one door or both doors, you want a width to be 2 to 6 inches wider than the total door opening. So the door opening is like 62 inches. So I'm making both of these doors 34 inches each. So that'll give me plenty of side width and it'll give me plenty of height. So that's just a little rule of thumb for barn doors. Okay, I think that's it. I think I'm done talking. Let's get going on the build. So what we're doing right here is cutting the structure down to the rough length of what we need. This is not the final length. I'm just making it into more manageable sizes so I can run it through the table saw to join it up later. For the inside panel, I didn't want just a flat panel with no character. I wanted a chamfer between each 1x4 that I'm gluing up. It'll give it a little extra character and make it just look a little bit better whenever we have that final glue up going. And here you'll see kind of what I'm talking about. You see that chamfer in the middle? That's what we're going to see throughout the entire door. And you might have got a glimpse of it in the beginning of the video. So somebody commented on one of my previous videos, how do you joint with the table saw? And this is how you do it. You run a straight edge alongside your wood and you push both of them at the same time. And then that opposite side that just got cut will be jointed and flat and ready to roll, boy. And right here I'm setting up the planer. So this is a Q-Tech planer and it does have a helical head that comes with it. It's done a pretty good job. I'm pretty impressed with it. It's about $750, I believe. But, I mean, it's a benchtop planer. It does a pretty decent job. And so I try to do as much final dimensional as I can on the table saw. So this is the side width structural pieces for the door. I'm cutting them down to 26.5 inches. And because I'm using the table saw with the fence, they will all be the same exact size as the other one. Now we're cutting down the upright runners. These are obviously too long in my small shop to use the table saw for, and it really wouldn't be safe. So I'm just making these as close to 84 inches as I possibly can on the miter saw. It's not my first choice, but you know, when you're in a pinch like this, a miter saw is pretty handy. And so right here I'm just marking where all the dominoes are going to go. It doesn't have to be an exact science with this, you know, kind of like doweling. Everything you do with a domino joiner you could do with a dowel jig. The domino joiner is just a little bit faster. And now here is what you want to watch for. If you're going to do a glue up, with a chamfer between each board, you have to be careful with how much glue you put and how much pressure you squeeze down whenever you do your glue up. If you put too much glue, you squeeze down too hard on the clamps, you're going to have glue out inside of those chamfers, and you're not going to be able to clean that without damaging it. So I put the glue, I covered the inside surface with not a lot of glue, but enough to hold it together, and it's still just like a regular glue up. It doesn't lose any strength or durability, but I was very careful when clamping it down and when putting glue. Because like I said, inside of them chamfers that meet each other, you do not want squeeze out inside of that. That would be an absolute pain to clean out. So here's our panel that's going to go inside of our structural pieces of the door. And this is what I was talking about. You see the grooves? Let me go that way. That's that chamfer that we put on. Now, if you're going to do something like this, you have to be mindful of glue squeeze out. That's why I didn't put a lot of glue. I put enough. I mean, it's holding all together. But I didn't put a lot because I don't want a lot of squeeze out to get in between this chamfer, because that's going to be an absolute pain to get out. So if you're going to do that, be mindful of the glue. And if you see any glue squeeze out, you need to try to get it out while it's wet. Otherwise, you're going to have a real big job on your hands trying to get it out and keep a clean appearance on those panels. And here's a trick that I do know that I didn't use on this because this is only 3/4 thick. If you have this chamfer here and you got another chamfer like this, if you take and you cut, let me bring you around. If you cut a 1/8 groove with your table saw along the length like that, when that glue, or when you clamp down the wood, that glue will go into that groove rather than coming out and into your chamfers. That glue will actually squeeze out into the wood itself. And there are a few people that have done it, and maybe I'll do a demonstration of it in one of the upcoming videos. But that's a good thing to know, and it's a good thing to use if you ever need it. This is a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch dado, and we're going to be cutting a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch tongue on the panels themselves. This dado is centered, and some of the dado did interfere with the domino holes, as you can kind of see there, but it worked itself out in the end, and I was able to fit all the dominoes. I really should have spent more time laying that out. I didn't know that would be, or it's not that I didn't know. I didn't feel like taking the time to lay it out perfectly, and I was just going to deal with whatever happened, which is not the best philosophy, but it worked this time around, so I'll probably use it the next time around. And as with anything with woodworking, you put it together, you take it apart. You put it together, and you take it apart. And right here we're measuring the inside length of the panels. And they all turned out to be, two panels of each side turned out to be pretty well the same size. Right here we're just getting our flat straight edge, cutting the panel in the middle. You got to be pretty adaptive when you're working in a small shop. I had to move my work table to make this cut, but we got it done. And here is the 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch tongue that we're cutting into each panel. I wound up having to take 3/8 off of each side of the panel to get my 1/2 inch tongue. And so here's the glue up for the door, making sure to get glue inside of all of the grooves. Put the dominoes in, then I'm going to go one piece at a time, structural, put the panel in. And the panel was kind of a pain, so I didn't surface any of the 1x4s that I had. I didn't really mill them down flat or straight or join them. They were pretty well surfaced as I bought them from the mill, but they still had some issues. I did have to do a lot of rework off camera to fix the tongues to get them to fit inside the grooves. But just slowly paid attention to each one. I did a trial fit, everything worked together, and now we're doing a glue up. And everything went together pretty well. It did take a little bit of clamping pressure to get it all to butt up pretty nicely, but it went together pretty well. Everything came out straight. Everything came out square. It was a pretty fun project to build, honestly. I like projects that I don't have to spend a lot of time planning. I can kind of just have a picture in my head and go with it. And that's what this project was for me. That's why I like doing doors and tables. All the other projects, they just require too much planning. A lot of people, when they find out you're a custom woodworker, they come up with some crazy ideas for you to build for them. So it helps to be picky. But, you know, when you need money, you need money. So, yeah, I could build anything you want. But projects like this, you learn to appreciate them. I will say this about the Festool sander and the dust extractor. I can sand inside of my shop, and I don't see any dust in there. It does an excellent job at picking up all the dust from sanding. And so here I'm doing a preconditioner. If you're working with softwood and you have to stain it, I don't really like staining, but the client wants it stained. So if you're doing a softwood, cypress, or pine, pre-stain conditioner will transform your project. I don't know what it does. I'm not a scientist, but I just applied it. And when you put the stain on, everything just comes out even and smooth. And it just looks phenomenal. And here I'm staining the doors with the Early American stain. I am spraying it. No respirator. Do as I say, not as I do, you know. Are you mad? Are you angry? Are you seething with rage? Foaming at the mouth, getting so worked up. Hey, wait. Before you destroy that workpiece, ask yourself, is it your fault? No. Is there anything you could do now to change it? No, I can't. Then don't worry about it. Hey, that's a good idea. Thanks, don't worry about it. You're welcome, you big dummy. Look at him so happy and clueless. He's not worried about it. Oh, he's so stupid. So for this project, we had some hardware that was supposed to come in. It was some special rhombus style barn door hangers. The track came in, but there was no hangers included, no none of the bottom track hardware, nothing like that. So that's putting me back, and I contacted customer service, and they said it's going to be 30 days before they ship the remaining hardware. First thing I did was contact the client, let them know it's not that big of a deal because they're building the house, so as long as they get it before December, it'll be fine. I still hate that I have to delay on account of somebody else's mistake, but it is what it is, and at times like that, you really can't worry about it because there's nothing you could do about it, right? It's not my fault. It wasn't. If something happens like this with you, it's not your fault. But the first thing you do is let the client know, and let them know after you've contacted customer service and you have an idea of when the hardware will be there. You don't want to call them with just a problem. Call them with the problem and the solution, the question and the answer. And it makes that customer service just go a mile further, and they really appreciate that more than if you just call them and say, hey, the hardware's late, just letting you know. No, the hardware's late. I've already contacted customer service. It'll be 30 days before it gets here, but as soon as it gets here, I'm ready to deliver. And send them pictures of the finished product so they know it's not waiting on you. It's really waiting on something that you really can't help right now. And when you do that, when you stop worrying about stuff so much, every little thing, and you slow down and start taking your time, you really make a better product. You become a healthier person. Life just gets better, right? Worrying about anything doesn't fix it. So delays like this, best thing to do is not worry about it. It is what it is sometimes. So I hope you liked the video. If you like it, like and subscribe. The next video, we're doing a table. that I'm going to be cutting out of some cypress slabs, sinker cypress slabs, which is pretty interesting. I don't like working with cypress because it's soft, it splinters real easy, but people around here like cypress, especially sinker cypress. So if you like the video, like and subscribe. We'll be on vacation next week, so I don't know if I'll have a video next week, but I might pre-record something and get it uploaded. And we're rapidly approaching 1,000 subscribers. I woke up, when I went to bed last night, we were at 780? No. When I went to bed last night, I was at 699. Woke up this morning and we had 782. So it's growing pretty rapidly. I really appreciate the support. Thank you for following the channel, and I will catch you on the next one.